The jalapenos were pleasant enough. Condiment level spice factor. But this is something else entirely. The mother spice. And I need to try not to panic.
A young woman live streams her life with a dangerous hook. She eats hot peppers to raise money for healthcare for her comatose sister.
When your viewer is demanding more and more, the question becomes like, where is her limit?
In Just Watch Me, author Lior Torenberg pushes her character to the brink.
I had to think about how to get her to a point where she is eating the world's hottest pepper.
As the stakes get higher, layers of lies are revealed.
The vapors coming out of my mouth make my eyes stream. Or maybe I'm crying. It's hard to tell.
Readers couldn't look away. Just Watch Me, Club Calvi's Reader's Choice. Welcome to our book club meetup. I'm Lior Calvi, and over 1,000 readers voted on this month's pick. The page-turner of a book reveals a main character who live streams her every move, but what she presents to the public is very different from what's happening in private. We're going to talk with author Lior Torenberg. We're also going to hear from our readers who have plenty of questions for Lior. And let's say hello to Club Calvi producer Danielle Parker, who will share your questions and comments.
Hi, Mary. We haven't had a book quite like this one. Just Watch Me takes us into the world of live streaming. But what you see isn't always what you get. The main character is named Dell. We know she has a sister she cares about and a mother and a friend who care about her. Yet readers weren't quite sure what to make of Dell.
This was unlike most of the books that I read.
It was kind of strange, and I felt like she was such a desperate person.
She was dealing with so much pain and so much guilt that I think that was just like a whole cover-up.
I think she felt guilty that her sister, was so sick.
Well, I really didn't like Dell. I'm sorry. She bothered me.
It's like makes her more compelling. You want to see her train wreck of a life kind of explode and then maybe rebuild, or you want her to become a better person by the end.
Yeah, by the end, like her or not, readers were fascinated to find out what would happen to Dell and her sister. Mary, there were several twists that we didn't see coming until they were right there on the page.
Danielle, what a surprise they were. The author gave us much to ponder as we question the main character's choices in this one. I had the chance to speak with the author in a place that really felt perfect for this book. To write about life in the world of spicy, you have to know hot peppers.
The cocoa ghost and the habanero coffee are some of my favorite.
One of the people who knows it well is author Lior Torenberg. In her debut novel, Just Watch Me, voted in as the Club Calvi Reader's Choice, Torenberg brings readers into the world through her main character, Dell.
When I sat down to write, and I knew first that Dell would be live streaming, so I had to think, what can she do to get followers and get attention? So eating hot peppers on camera popped into my brain. I was so happy to be able to explore that.
She did things too that were a bit questionable.
I think Dell is in a place where she is willing to do anything to not be with her own thoughts. And when your viewer is demanding more and more, the question becomes like, where is her limit? And ultimately she does find her limit.
We had the chance to explore our own limits when it comes to heat.
Okay, we're gonna move over and taste.
Yes, let's do it.
At Hedonist in Brooklyn, their mission is to share the best small batch hot sauces with the world with a selection of just over 700 different tastes.
Okay, give us a taste, but go easy on me, please. How hot is this one?
This is not very hot.
I think it's delicious, but it is a little hot for me, so you're okay with it.
It's nice because it's quick, it's in the front of your mouth, it's kind of peppery, and then it goes away.
We moved on with 2 more hot pepper sauces, and the last one made me nervous.
We're getting hotter here.
Oh, this one's Carolina Reaper.
Yeah. Reaper, just the name scares me. All right, here we go. Cheers.
It's
so hot. Whew.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're so strong.
No, it's lovely.
It starts sweet.
It is a bit hotter on the tongue.
I am such a wimp, Lior, but you are a champ. Author Lior Torenberg, thanks so much for continuing our conversation. Joining us live from London. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Mary.
All right, first of all, congratulations on your success with Just Watch Me. How has this been for you?
It's been everything. It's been such a joy, and talking to readers, working with my team, every part of it has been gratifying.
All right, so tell me, how high a level can you reach when it comes to eating hot peppers? I made it to the lame level 3, but what about you?
So the hottest pepper that I'll eat for fun is a habanero. I won't go near a Reaper. I think then your day's over. I've had Reaper byproducts like peppers, but day to day I'll stick in habanero territory.
Well, thank you for being kind to me, because I know there was Reaper in that one, but it was just a small amount, so I appreciated that. You introduced me to the world of live stream in your book, which I've heard about but hadn't ever logged onto. So are people sharing their lives 24/7?
Yes, they absolutely are. Twitch is a massive platform, and I will say about 99% of it is people showing themselves playing video games, but there is a subsection of people just taking you through their day-to-day lives, and I watched a lot of those streams to help research for Just Watch Me. It's very active.
I was going to ask, how much did you immerse yourself in that world as you were researching for the book?
Yeah, a lot of the research I was doing and watching these live streams was actually to get to know the chat and how people were talking to each other. Because if you've read the book, you know that Del's viewers are characters in their own right, and they all have their own personalities. So I watched a lot of live streams to give texture to that writing.
It really helped, even just the punctuation and just like the little snippets and even just the nicknames. And I didn't realize that people raised quite a bit of money in that endeavor too.
Yes, I think the average streamer is not making money, but just like any other social media platform, there are monetization pathways. And for people who really know how to do it well, they can make a good amount of money.
All right, Lior, we are going to go to Danielle Parker right now, hear what our book club members have to say about all of this. Danielle.
Yeah, she opened up a whole new world. I had never live streamed before, knew it was there, but never thought about it. But this is like brought into now everyone's world. And it was really also interesting to find out on our reader Zoom who likes their food spicy. Let me tell you, there were some surprises because Del eating hotter and hotter peppers really drive this plot. So Lior had a lot of detailed descriptions about what eating some of these peppers tastes like and how the body reacts. Here's Cindy's question.
What amount of research did you engage in to truly fulfill the reactions Del had with each new pepper level?
Love that question. So Lior, how much did you immerse yourself in that area?
Yeah, I would say I'm more of a hot sauce hobbyist. I've had over 50 bottles at home at once, and I do like to push and test my limits every once in a while. And I think there's also a lot of research to be done in watching shows like Hot Ones, where you can really see the symptoms escalate in the guests. And so I did eat a couple peppers, but I'll be honest, I've eaten a lot more promoting this book than I did researching it.
We had so much fun. I really enjoyed our time together, too. There was even that pepper eating contest in the books, and you mentioned that you've been to these as well.
Yes, that is terrific research. And in part, it inspired the climax of my book. So the New York City Hot Sauce Expo is where the world record competition is held every year to see who can eat the most of the hottest pepper in the world, the Reaper, in 1 minute. So going to that event is amazing research. And even just standing in the front row, the vapors alone are making your eyes water because we're talking about pepper spray levels at this point.
Yeah, I love that line in the book, is your eye watering or are you crying? Because there is something we talked about. You made such an important point and poignant, too, that this whole show for Del really came down to the fact that she needed to escape from her life, to separate as much as possible from her own thoughts. I was pretty amazed by that, and it made so much sense when you really delve into the book and really understand your main character.
Mm-hmm. And also, pain through spice for her is an acceptable way to show her emotions. She's not going to break down and throw a tantrum, but if she puts herself in this pain and in this duress, she might be able to get a few tears out, and I think she really needs that release.
Yeah, it was purposeful, almost, that pain of guilt maybe that she was carrying.
Absolutely, Mary.
I know one of our readers was like, I didn't really like this Del character, but we really were rooting for her until we weren't. I mean, how close did you get to Del? I know you spent so much time working on that character.
Yes, and I think the question of likability is a good one. For me, I'm more thinking about whether a character is interesting than likable. I think that Del is interesting, even if someone says that they don't like her very much. And honestly, I wouldn't like her very much, but I spent a lot of time with her, had her in my head for a couple of years, and it's been wonderful to spend more time with her in talking about the book. So I do feel very fondly of Del, ultimately.
Did you miss her once the book was done?
I didn't, and then I did.
Danielle has some more questions from readers, so let's get back to you, Danielle.
Yes, Mary and Lior, in fact, this question goes to the extremes that Dell goes to keep building her audience, to get them to make larger and larger donations, all to help her sister Daisy. Dell acts as if she's giving the audience access to her true life. But is it really a performance? And what could that performance do to a person is at the root of Steve's question.
Would like to know how deeply immersed she was, and is it hazardous to be that deeply immersed that in a way the world of the book becomes a more real reality than what is actually going on in other parts of Dell's life?
That is such an interesting question, and I wonder the same thing, Lior.
Steve is absolutely right. Dell is purposely or accidentally creating a world where she is in control. And she has created a persona where she can put off an image and her viewers accept it. So she has this world that she can escape her real world through. And people like her mom and her neighbor and her old friends, she is pushing them away because she does prefer this live stream where she can just be whoever she wants to be and people accept it, but she can't maintain that perfect control forever. So I do think there are hazards in performance and persona in general. I think it has to crack eventually.
You really created these tense relationships throughout the book, one with her mother. How important did you feel that relationship was to carrying the plot of the story?
That one surprised me a little bit. I had a feeling that her mom would play a role. I didn't know how big or how small. And a lot of her mom's interactions with Dell are one-sided. Their voicemails are unanswered texts. But eventually, especially towards the end, you really see that relationship blossom into one that is really central for any kind of redemption available to Dell.
You know, I wanted to ask you, Lior, how long did you spend on crafting this and writing this story?
I spent about 2.5 to 3 years writing and crafting this story from absolute start to absolute finish, sending it off to the publisher.
Was this a character that you'd been thinking about for a while?
I am fascinated by people, first and foremost, and characters who are so charismatic and so confident and just walk through the world with this bravado. And I like writing towards that. It's like write what you don't know or what you want to understand. And I'm nothing like Dell, so it was really fun to write that type of personality.
And you handled it so beautifully. Coming up, we have more questions for you about the book and whether Dell is someone readers can believe. And it's time to vote on which book we will read next, our top 3 fic picks.
A quote in the book, you can be anyone you want on the internet. So she played this other character, I feel.
There's a narrative that's being given to us to present one way and present to the audience one way, but there's an underlying truth that we're not being told.
And you realize that this is a brave front or a controlling front she's put on, and you just know a reckoning is coming, a revelation is coming.
You just heard reaction from readers about the main character in the book, Just Watch Me. This book really had us talking, Danielle.
It did, and we've mentioned how there are a few twists in this book that took us by surprise. And the fact that none of us on our reader Zoom call had an inkling of what would be revealed shows how well Lior plotted out this book. So here's Erica's question.
Heard that some authors plot out where the story is going to go, and some just go by the seat of their pants. And because of the nature of the story, there being a big reveal at the end, I was curious how soon into the writing process she knew where this was going, or if she came up with it as she went.
It's such a great question, Lior. Are you a writer who lays out the whole book before you start or work on it as you go?
I love Erica's question because twists and reveals are really challenging because they have to feel both surprising and inevitable. And that's a hard trick to pull. And I usually write a first draft completely by the seat of my pants to even find out what I'm trying to say. And then as the drafts progress, I do start plotting more and more, but I had a sense of what the twist would be because I needed to weave that in and lay hints leading up to it.
It really took us all by surprise. I am curious about your writing, meaning like where do you write? I love asking authors. Some of them create these special spaces for themselves and others just kind of write wherever you are. So you've traveled so often. I was curious about your writing and where you're doing that.
Trying not to be so precious about my writing environment, exactly for that reason. I used to write on my phone on a train during the commute. This book I wrote during the pandemic, so I think I was actually writing it hidden in my room for privacy because I shared a small apartment with a lot of people.
Really? Oh, how that's so interesting. And did you feel like it gave you your own time? It's such a solitary, project when you're writing, and because you were with so many people, were you able to block out the noise and be able to concentrate on your story?
Yes, to an extent I was. Noise-proof headphones help, but I also think that writing gave me such a great outlet for the claustrophobia of that time. And though this isn't a pandemic novel at all, I think that her being cooped up in her tiny apartment and just the claustrophobia of being in her head, some of that stuff does come through.
So I know you've been writing short stories for many years, and this is your debut novel. How did you feel when you heard those words that you were going to be a published author?
Thanks, Mary. It's very special. I will always remember where I was. I was on a plane and I bought Wi-Fi because I knew I was going to get a text from my agent. And everyone around me on the plane was asleep when I got the text that said, "We sold, just watch me." And I had a little moment in, whatever seat 44E to myself. And it was very, very special. It's all I've ever wanted.
Oh, it's so spectacular to hear. I'm so thrilled for you. We do have another question from our readers, so let's send it over to Danielle.
I love that story. She found out she was going to be published like 30,000 feet up. That is fantastic. So, one of the things we do is that we ask authors of our previous Reader's Choice books to record a question for the next author. So Caroline Palmer, who wrote Workhorse, which coincidentally also had a featured main character readers were conflicted about, we asked her to ask a question. So here's Caroline's question for Lior.
My question for the next author is, do you have any rituals or things you do when you get stuck in your writing, when you have a moment of writer's block or you kind of don't know what to do next? What do you do to get through that block?
Caroline has such a great question. I think every writer has that moment.
People won't like my answer, I don't think, but my answer is I stop working on that project for a while. And I do think sometimes you can work on something else while keeping the world of the novel in your mind. And sometimes it surprises you when your characters or something is revealed to you when you have your guard down and when you actually listen to your characters instead of telling them what to do. So space and time helps a lot.
That's fascinating because I think authors feel that pressure to keep on going every day. So how long a break would you take?
Well, I think writer's block for me comes from over planning, where I know where I want my book to go and it's not really going there. And that means that I need to step back and learn some more information. So sometimes I'll work on a short story, take a week or two, but not too long, and I always come back.
So have you started on your next novel?
Yes, I've been working on another novel for a few years now, and I really hope that you get to read it sometime soon.
Of course, I can't wait. And can we expect, this tech-savvy main character again, live streaming, or, I don't know, eating a hot pepper or two?
I think you can imagine maybe the exact opposite of that, but I think that the heart and the weirdness and the specificity will carry over.
Really? Okay, so you're in the middle of it now. How far along are you?
I would say, optimistically, I am closer to finished than closer to the beginning. I think I'm more than halfway there, but these things will take as long as they take.
Lior, it was just so great talking with you and reading Just Watch Me. All the best with your new book.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks, everyone.
And when we come back, you can help choose our next read. We're going to reveal our top 3 fic picks. Danielle, it was so much fun speaking with our author and reading Just Watch Me.
That was a lot of fun. What a book.
What a book is right. And it's time to choose our next read. So here are the top 3 fic picks. Lake Effect by Cynthia Dupree Sweeney is about families changed forever when married neighbors have an affair and their children feel the fallout for decades.
Then we have Whidbey by T. Kira Madden. It follows 3 women who were abused as children by the same man and the aftermath of his murder.
And All the World Can Hold by Jung Yoon is about passengers on a cruise after 9/11, their regrets and hopes for second chances. So scan the QR code on your screen to read a free excerpt and vote at clubcalvi.com.
We also have information on our website about becoming a member of our Facebook group. That way you can join our book discussions and ask questions of the authors.
Be sure to vote, and we hope you join us for our next book club meetup. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you. Which one will it be? I can't wait to hear.